You know, in our world today, information isn't just important, it's literally everything. We're talking about your customer lists, your financial data, your company's secret sauce. All of it is incredibly valuable, which of course means it's also incredibly vulnerable. So how in the world do you build a real fortress around all that data? Well, that's exactly the question we're going to dig into.
Let's be honest. Trying to protect all your digital assets can feel, well, just overwhelming. I mean, threats are coming from every direction all the time. Businesses really need a blueprint, right? A reliable, internationally recognized game plan to build up their defenses. And that, right there, is where ISO 27001 enters the picture.
So, what is this thing really? First off, ISO 27001 is not a piece of software you can just buy and install. Think of it more like a master blueprint for building, running, and constantly improving what's called an Information Security Management System, or an ISMS. It's not a simple checklist, it's the whole strategic command center for your entire security operation.
Okay, so to make sense of all this, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. First, we'll decode what the standard is all about. Then we'll dive into the management framework. After that, we'll look at all the different types of controls, from people to tech. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together in a cycle of constant improvement. Let's get started.
All right, let's jump right in and decode what really makes this standard tick. At its absolute core, ISO 27001 is a really powerful mix of two things. You've got a robust management system that gives you the strategy, and then you have a whole set of security controls that give you the practical, on-the-ground defenses.
And this right here, this is the crucial part that so many people miss. This is not just some IT issue you can solve by buying a new firewall. No way. It's a holistic approach that weaves together your processes, your technology, and, most importantly, your people. The real goal here is to build a genuine culture of security that runs through the veins of the entire organization, from the very top all the way down.
Okay, so now let's get into the brains of the operation, the management framework. Because before you can implement a single control, you have to have a strategy. This whole section is about how to think about security in a structured, repeatable way. And the engine that drives this whole thing is a super simple but incredibly powerful cycle: plan, do, check, act. This is what makes sure your security system isn't just some static, one-and-done fix. Instead, you plan your approach, you put it into action, you check to see if it's actually working, and then you act on what you find to get better. It's this continuous loop of improvement. So what does that plan stage actually look like? Well, it's all about laying a solid foundation. You've got to understand your own unique business context, get real commitment from the leadership team, formally assess all your risks, and then set some crystal clear security goals. If you get this part wrong, believe me, the whole structure can get pretty wobbly.
Next up is the do phase, and this is where all that strategy becomes action. It's where the rubber meets the road. You allocate the resources you need, the people, the budget, the tools. You make sure everyone in the organization knows what their security responsibilities are, and you start actively implementing the specific controls you need to handle the risks you found early. Now that we've got the strategy cycle down, let's dive into the really practical side of ISO 27001, the controls. And we're going to start with the human element, the rules that shape how your organization and, your people act in a secure way.
Before we even get to individual people, we have to look at the organization as a whole. These are what we call organizational controls, and they really provide the structural backbone for your entire security program. Just think of these as setting the official rules of the game for how the company handles its information securely.
And the breadth of these controls is, well, it's pretty remarkable. It covers everything from those big, high-level security policies that apply to everybody, all the way down to really specific modern challenges, like gathering threat intelligence, managing security with your suppliers, and making sure you're using cloud services safely. It is incredibly thorough. So with those organizational rules in place, we now turn to the most critical, and let's face it, often the most unpredictable part of any security system: your people. It doesn't matter how great your tech is, human behavior is absolutely key. Your people are, without a doubt, your first line of defense. And this is where the standard gets very, very practical, covering the whole employee journey. These people controls include essential things like screening new hires, providing continuous security awareness training so people can actually spot threats, and setting up clear rules and protections for the growing reality of remote work. Okay, so we've covered the human element. Now we're going to shift to the tangible and digital layers of protection.
let's take a look at the physical and technological controls that secure your actual information assets. You know, it's so easy to forget this in our cloud-first world, but information still lives in physical places. It's in server rooms, it's in filing cabinets, and it's even on the papers left sitting on an employee's desk. Physical controls are all about locking down those locations.
And as you can see, this stuff gets really practical really fast. It covers the big things, yeah, like locks on doors and secure entry systems, but also the simple but super effective policies like clear desk, clear screen. It even gets as detailed as securing your network cables and making sure old hard drives are properly wiped before you get rid of them.
And finally, we get to the technological controls. This is what most people immediately think of when they hear the word cybersecurity. You know, the firewalls, the antivirus software, all the digital guards that stand watch over your data 24/7.
This slide shows off some of the real heavy hitters. You've got your essential malware protection, of course. You've got tools to prevent sensitive data from walking out the door. You've got robust backup procedures so you can recover from a disaster. And even things like web filtering to stop employees from accidentally going to malicious sites in the first place. So, we've gone through the framework and we've covered the controls. But maybe the single most important idea in all of ISO 27001 is this. Security is not a one-time project that you finish and then just forget about. Real security is a continuous journey. This brings us right back around, full circle, to the check phase of our management cycle. I mean, after all, how do you know if all those controls you put in place are actually working? It's simple. You can't improve what you don't measure. This means you have to do regular internal audits and track key security metrics to really see what's effective and where your weak spots are.
And all that data you collect leads directly into the final, critical phase. Act. This quote from the standard itself really says it all. Do we continually improve? The entire point of checking and measuring is to find those weaknesses, to learn from any security incidents, and to feed that knowledge right back into the system to make it stronger and stronger.
So, the ultimate takeaway here is pretty clear. Information security is never really done. It's an ongoing process of planning, doing, checking, and acting. It's a long-term commitment to building a truly resilient security culture. So when you look at this entire framework, the real question isn't just, are we secure today, but rather, what is your next step on that journey?